How's it going, guys? Football-ManagerYouthDevelopment.co.uk here. This is the second episode of our Chelsea gameplay series on Football Manager 2017. I wanted to start this episode off just by saying thank you to everybody who's new to the channel, everybody who's subscribed, and everybody who was pressing the like button in the last video. It really does help the channel. So to kick today's episode off, we are still actually playing in the pre-season friendlies. Unfortunately, I've not had too much time to play the game just due to work and general life, etc. But yeah, I just wanted to show you this goal. So obviously in the last episode, I spoke about the tactics that I was looking to set up for this Chelsea team and how I wanted it to work. So I'm still persevering with the shape that I had set up, and I just want to show you this goal that we scored. It was actually scored within 3 minutes, but it's pretty much set up exactly how I wanted to, sort of score all my goals and how I wanted the team to play. So we have the ball in the middle of the pitch. I'll play it fairly slowly here. I'll just take the speed down very slightly. But basically what's going to happen, we have William on the right hand side who's going to get the ball and potentially cut inside with the ball, but we have Fabregas, Oscar, and I did decide to play Chabaloa in this friendly just to give him a little bit of game time. But yeah, William's going to pick the ball up on the right hand side here, and what is quite pleasing to me is that we've got Ivanovic and Azpilicueta on this particular formation. They're in quite a lot of space on the left and right hand side, which is quite pleasing to me. They're going to provide my team with a lot of the width that we want for this particular formation. So William plays the ball in the middle to Fabregas, and he then quickly passes the ball on to Oscar. You can see here that we've got Hazard here, who is going to be our inside forward, and you can see that he's got quite a lot of space here to run into. Diego Costa is up and in there in the middle of the box, which is quite pleasing to me. And I can also see here, even though Oscar's got the ball, he does have the option to play in Hazard. He's got the option to play in Chabaloa, or if he really wanted to, he's got Azpilicueta, who's free on the left-hand side of the pitch here. So I'm going to play this forward now, and you'll see that Oscar does actually manage to find Hazard, and then Hazard basically manages to put it into the net. If I kind of pause it there, you can see how many players I do actually have forward. So the width is being provided by my fullbacks. Everybody else in the middle of the park is fairly narrow, but you can see how many defenders that this team that we were playing against did actually have in the middle. But yeah, we still managed to score and get the ball into the back of the net. So just in terms of today's episode, I wanted to play a real quick friendly against a Belgium club, and the tactic is still looking like this at the moment. Like I said, I'm still playing around a little bit with Diego Costa just to try and find out what his best position is going to be on the pitch for us. I've not sold any players during the pre-season so far, but I did manage to bring one guy in on a loan, a guy called Thomas Partey. Fairly good midfielder. I just wanted maybe someone who's a little bit strong, fairly good work rate. He's got good tackling at 16, good work rate 16, strength 15, sort of, so he should be a fairly decent player. He's not going to be playing every single game for me, but I do think he's going to be quite a good player just in case Kante or Matic get injured in the middle of the park. The only player that I've been particularly interested in trying to get in on a proper contract is James Ward-Prowse from Southampton. I like the look of this guy just because simply he can do a little bit of everything. He's not particularly the strongest person, but he's got very good vision, work rate, teamwork, passing, technique, that type of thing. And I do think with Fabregas isn't really the type of player that I like to have in my team. He's not too bad, Fabregas, and I'm certainly not looking to sell him this season, but potentially next season I will look to sell on a player like Fabregas and maybe bring in someone of this sort of mould, basically, who has got a little bit of a creative side but can actually stick his foot into a tackle as well. So for today's game, it's going to be a fairly standard lineup. What I'm basically going to be doing during this particular gameplay is just having a look at the tactics, just sort of see what type of things are working and what type of things are not particularly working. So we'll crack on with the game and just see what type of things we find whilst the game is playing. Okay then, so we're within the first 5 minutes of the game, and I just wanted to show you the type of things that I'm having a look at here on the tactics. You can see that this team is playing very, very narrow. Their formation's actually quite strange, and it's not something I've really seen on Football Manager, especially from the AI. So they've gone for 2 strikers up top, 2 in the middle, 2 defensive midfielders. It's clearly a very defensive formation that they're trying to play against me here. And if we have a look at the pitch view, you can see that I really do just need to exploit the kind of width basically. So what I've decided to do on my team instructions, I've changed it so that my team are a lot more wider in their shape. You can see here that William and Hazard are a lot more wider, and you can see the width of my fullbacks as well. So literally a few moments later, we have managed to put the ball into the back of the net. I mentioned about how narrow this team was and that I did need to exploit the wings. So if I play on here, William's going to pick the ball up on the right hand side. He's got the option of giving it to Azpilicueta on the right hand side. We do have a couple of players that are milling around in the middle of the pitch. Diego Costa's our furthest forward player, and we also have Hazard in the middle as well. But William's going to take the ball out wide. He's going to put a pretty nice cross into the middle of the pitch, and Hazard is there at the back post. There's a little bit of a mix-up in the middle, but Diego Costa does manage to put the ball into the back of the net to make it 1-0 to us. I do want to see if the AI decides to change their shape and their tactics and things like that, but at the moment I'm going to keep exploiting the width and the wings for this particular opponent that we're playing here. This is certainly an all-action game that we are playing here in this friendly, so Ghent actually managed to pull a goal back. We couldn't have done too much with that. I will sort of analyse that after this game is finished, but we've just managed to pull it back to 2-1. So William again is going to get the ball on the right hand side of the pitch. You can see that we've got a few players just working their way into the middle of the park as well. I think that's going to be Oscar, Hazard and Costa in the middle, but William gets the ball on the right hand side, puts in a nice cross, and Hazard is basically in the middle unmarked to make it 2-1 to Chelsea. On the 20-minute mark, we've managed to get our third goal of the game. So Fabregas picks the ball up in the middle of the park. I've given Fabregas a little bit of license to move forward as much as he wants to. Matic is my more defensive player, but you can see we've got the two fullbacks who give a lot of width to this particular formation. And William, again, he's kind of milling around on the inside of the, making himself a little bit more narrow. But Fabregas gives the ball to Oscar. Oscar's going to take a shot right on the edge of the box, and that is a very nice goal right into the top corner. In the 60th minute, we've managed to make it 5-1 to Chelsea. So I've mentioned it all the way through these highlights, but it's going to be very important. The narrowness of the opposition, we have to exploit the wings here. And Azpilicueta picks the ball up here. You can see Hazard, who is on the back post. He is being marked by a guy, but if I play the ball forward a little bit, Azpilicueta puts in a nice floated cross, and Hazard is there with a nice finish into the top corner. That was actually Hazard's hat-trick for today, so I'm very happy that he's managed to do very well in this particular game, and he looks to be on pretty decent form going into the first game of the Premier League season. The full-time whistle is just blown here, and it finished 5-2 to Chelsea. I'm pretty happy with the result of this game, even though it is in pre-season. I do think we're pretty much ready for the Premier League season, which is not too far away. I just want to have a look at some key sort of stats and things like that just to round off this episode here, guys. But we managed 25 shots, 9 of which were on target. We created 4 clear-cut chances, 63% possession. We had 90% of our passes that were completed, 17% of our crosses were completed. We actually tried 78 crosses, which is a hell of a lot. I don't know whether that's a little bit excessive. I do need to take a look at that, but yeah, I'm not too displeased with 17%. We can certainly see that most of the goals that we scored did actually come from crosses, so yeah, having 80 crosses in a game is not necessarily a bad thing. We also managed 73% of our tackles we managed to win as well. If we have a look at some of the key stats of some of the players, things like dribbles, William was very productive in that type of area. He did quite well with the number of dribbles that he managed to make. In terms of key passes, we didn't exactly make a hell of a lot of key passes. Maybe that's something I might need to have a look at potentially. I'm not too sure at this stage, but in terms of shots on target as well, so Eden Hazard obviously managed to get his Man of the Match award. He got his hat-trick as well, and he also got an assist with an average rating of 9.7. He managed 7 shots, of which 3 were on target. Obviously, every shot that was actually on target, he did actually manage to hit the back of the net, so Eden Hazard looks to be on pretty decent form. Diego Costa was not really on the ball at all. He came off in the 80th minute, but he only actually touched the ball. Well, he managed only like 19 passes, which again, it looks like potentially Diego Costa's a little bit isolated up top on his own. Am I happy with the sort of performance and making Diego Costa a little bit isolated? I do want him to be taking a lot of shots. I can see here that he had 6 shots, 2 of which was on target. To be honest, if Diego Costa's hitting the back of the net, I'm not particularly too bothered about how much he's actually involved with the game. So I do need to keep an eye on that. Obviously, a lot of my midfielders like Oscar, William, and my fullbacks are definitely getting on the ball a lot. In terms of William and Oscar, they both made 74 and 73 passes, so they're getting on the ball a hell of a lot, which is pretty decent to me. But yeah, Diego Costa and how I want to sort of be using Diego Costa, I do need to have a think about that even still. In the next episode, guys, I'm going to play the first game of the Premier League season. Hopefully we'll get off to a fairly decent start, but we'll have to see how that one goes. I don't envisage that I'll make too many more signings for this particular team. Yeah, I just want to kind of get the season underway and just see how we get on with that. If you have enjoyed this episode, guys, please do leave a like on the video and, of course, leave your comments below, and we'll be back very soon for the next episode in this series. Thanks for watching.